If your 20s feel overwhelming, you're not failing. Your brain is overloaded and you can rebuild your capacity. Let's take a look at the silent crisis the young adults carry alone. If you're in your 20s or early 30s, if your life looks fine from the outside, but inside you're feeling exhausted, anxious, unfocused, maybe unmotivated and overwhelmed, behind, and ashamed for not knowing why you feel this way, you need to hear this clearly. You are not lazy, you are not unmotivated, and you're definitely not broken. Your brain is just dysregulated. It's by no means defective. Young adulthood today comes with crushing expectations, financial stress, nonstop comparison, digital overstimulation, unstable career paths, social anxiety, loneliness, trauma history, identity confusion, and an unpredictable world. So your nervous system is carrying a load previous generations never had to carry at this age. And today we're going to finally explain why everything feels so overwhelming, why motivation disappears, and why burnout hits so young, why your emotions feel huge or unpredictable, why your brain won't shut off, and why social situations exhaust you. Maybe why simple tasks feel impossible, and how TMS can help restore clarity, motivation, emotional stability, and capacity. So let's start with the truth. Your 20s are not supposed to feel effortless, but they're not supposed to feel like you're in survival mode either. The young adult brain has high potential, but often low regulation. Between 18 and 28 years old, the brain is in its final developmental stage. So several things are happening at once during this crucial time period in our lives. The prefrontal cortex is still maturing, and this is your brain's center for organization, planning, emotional regulation, motivation, decision making, and impulse control. So you're operating without the fully developed version of these systems. At the same time, the limbic system is fully online and highly reactive. So this means emotions hit hard, stress feels more intense, rejection can feel catastrophic, and uncertainty feels very threatening. Your identity circuits are also still forming. So you're trying to understand, who am I? What matters to me? What kind of life am I building? And then at the same time, your brain is also overloaded by modern stimuli. We've got social media 24/7, comparison to our peers, a 24-hour news cycle, and your nervous system was not built for this. Your brain is not underperforming. Your brain is overloaded during its most vulnerable developmental window. So, why does everything feel like it's too much? Why does everything feel like it's too much? A lot of young adults describe feeling behind, exhausted, feeling numb or shut down, feeling pressure to succeed instantly, or just feeling lost. And here's the neuroscience behind why this is happening. Stress circuits are activating faster because the amygdala is highly sensitive at this age. Your prefrontal cortex, which is not fully developed, fatigues very quickly because it's still maturing. And then the cognitive load is just too high because you're juggling identity, career, relationships, finances, and independence all at once. And then emotional burnout often appears very early because your nervous system is constantly overstimulating. Dopamine regulation is disrupted because the modern world is hacking your reward system. This is why everything feels heavy, even though you're young. You're not too sensitive. You're just carrying too much with too few internal tools. Next, we're going to look at the lost spark phenomenon. And this is one of the most common things young adults say is, I used to be motivated, but now I can't start anything, or I feel flat, or I don't care about the things that I used to, or I feel disconnected from myself. This is not a character flaw. This is dopamine depletion plus prefrontal exhaustion plus chronic stress. Your brain isn't choosing apathy. Your brain is conserving energy because it's overwhelmed. Let's examine the shutdown response when everything just feels impossible. So, if you've ever looked at a simple task like laundry, emails, bills, and you felt your brain freeze, that is not necessarily procrastination. This is called a dorsovagal shutdown. It's a nervous system mode triggered by overwhelm, fear of failure, perfectionism, lack of emotional bandwidth, burnout, low dopamine, and chronic stress. So your brain is not resisting the task. Your brain is actually trying to protect you. Another thing we often see is an anxiety loop in young adults. Anxiety in young adults is driven by unpredictability, financial pressure, fear of disappointing others, constant social evaluation, fear of making the wrong choice, often childhood trauma resurfacing, identity confusion, and sleep disruption. And neurologically, anxiety happens when the amygdala is overactive, the prefrontal cortex is underpowered, and the nervous system is stuck in this fight or flight mode. And this creates racing thoughts, rumination, irritability, insomnia, physical tension, and stomach issues. And this is not your personality. This is a state your brain is just stuck in and can't get out of. We often see depression very commonly in young adults, not sadness, but disconnection. And often young adults present with numbness, emotional blunting, burnout, loss of motivation, hopelessness, withdrawal, emptiness. And this is, again, this prefrontal limbic imbalance. It's not a flaw. It's just the younger the brain, the more responsive it is to neural stimulation. Why do young adults burn out before their careers even begin? Young adults are experiencing chronic stress, chronic comparison, chronic sensory overload, unstable life structure, poor sleep, unprocessed trauma, performance pressure, and no real recovery time. Burnout happens when the nervous system has been in survival mode for too long. Burnout is not weakness, it's biology hitting its limit. So, how does TMS help young adult brains? TMS is especially effective for young adults because their neuroplasticity is so high. And here's what it does: it strengthens the prefrontal cortex. That gives you better emotional regulation, better focus, better task initiation, and better decision making. It also calms the amygdala by reducing anxiety, reducing overwhelm, and reducing emotional reactivity. It also improves sleep by stabilizing your mood, improving memory, and restoring motivation. And then it increases dopamine availability by restoring pleasure, improving motivation, and reducing apathy. And it helps reset identity circuits so you feel more confident, more self aware, and more stable. And it also builds resilience so that tasks feel easier, stress feels lighter, and your emotional bandwidth is bigger. Young adults often will tell me, I feel like myself again, or my brain is quiet for the first time in years, or I can actually start things. I'm not overwhelmed anymore. I can think clearly. And this is not a placebo. This is neural circuit repair in action. So here's what healing looks like at this age. Healing is clarity returning, motivation waking up, steady emotions, less anxiety, better sleep, deeper joy, fewer shutdowns, better social energy, stronger boundaries, a sense of direction, a sense of self, and a sense of possibility. So when young adults heal their nervous system, everything changes fast because their brains are primed for transformation. So here's the message young adults desperately need: you're not behind, you're not failing, and you're definitely not broken. Your brain is overwhelmed by a world that places impossible demands on people your age, but being overwhelmed isn't permanent. Your brain can be rewired, your capacity can grow, and your spark can come back. You're not finished, you're just overextended. So, if this all felt like someone finally put your experience into words, if you're tired of feeling anxious, numb, unfocused, or overwhelmed, if you want your clarity, your motivation, and your spark back, you don't have to figure this out alone. And you definitely don't have to keep suffering through it. Start a conversation with us. Tell me what your days feel like. Let's help your brain recalibrate so you can build the life you want with a nervous system that can finally regulate and actually support. Your brain can reset and your capacity can return, and the next chapter can feel entirely different and so much better. We're here to help you.